So, for example, the Los Angeles Community College District, as I said, $3.5 billion. About 6 years ago, the voters had voted themselves about $2.2 billion to put in these programs that I just showed you. This is a showing of where the campuses are located throughout the greater Los Angeles area. This is an example of something that was referred to before about Germany. Why is Germany taking the leadership in this whole area of solar, for example? And it had taken the leadership also in wind, which we really didn't talk about before. Because the German people voted themselves what are called feed-in tariffs to tax themselves on their energy use at a rate that will then go back into renewable energy for both manufacturing, for consumption, and also for job creation. So I'll get back to some more of this in a minute, but the point is what you can see here is the amount of installation just in the PV area over the last few years. I have another slide that I didn't show or didn't bring today that shows actually the increase in jobs and the increase in the economy as a result of what the feed-in tariffs did in Germany, and that's now been replicated in Spain and now in Italy. We in California are now just considering that in Sacramento. I've been up there testifying the last couple of weeks about it. The point is, in the LA Community College District, we set up a plan, and this has to do with some of our other speakers. One of them was have efficient central plants, not just building by building, but how the buildings are connected for heating and cooling systems. The second was also referred to before earlier about performance, conservation, demand-side management. We also said that each of our college campuses are going to be energy independent, so it's got to have at least 1 or 2 or up to 4 or 5 megawatts of renewable energy, mostly solar, to provide it its energy demand. But the biggest thing is jobs. It's going to need jobs in terms of people understanding the industry. This goes to our HR problem that we're talking about, and people to maintain, operate, and control these systems and bring in new innovations. This is a plan that we're now implementing as I speak. Here's Los Angeles again, not on a clear day, of course, but this is actually a park east of downtown Los Angeles, which is totally energy independent. It gets all of its power from the solar, from the sunshine, concentrated solar, has every resource it needs in terms of heating and cooling systems. This is another example in Los Angeles. This is actually in Santa Monica. This is the NRDC headquarters down there, which is a platinum-level LEED building with solar panels on the top. No air conditioning because it's got ventilation throughout the building itself. This is one of our campuses, East LA College. This is 1+ megawatt of solar. We're covering the rest of this parking structure also with solar, and of course this garage as well. This is the central plant that I just referred to, connecting several different buildings, and of course walkways are also going to be having covered panels from solar as well. This is me getting a check for $2.8 million. That wasn't a joke, but I didn't go anywhere with it. It went to the college, by the way. Everyone get that? This is going to be on YouTube, right? So I just want to be sure you understand that. It's not my check, all right? This is the turning on the switch for the campus. This is the second revolution, second industrial revolution technology. There's actually the third one around the corner, which is all technical. This is the panels themselves, and of course this is what they look like with cars parked underneath. The president of the campus right here, Ernie Marino, made a comment because one of the students went to their car about 2 and 3 in the afternoon and said, "Gee, Mr. President, this is great. My car is so much cooler with the shade you put over our parking lot." That's important, and it's not a joke. We need to be sure people understand what's going on here, and there are kiosks actually showing the amount of power that's being generated from the solar panels. My clicker's not clicking. There we go. Whoops, went too fast. We also need to look at other parts of the world. This is a slide from a community in northern Denmark. It's Aalborg University, where they created a science park. I've taught there over the last 5 or 10 years. And it started off with these 2 buildings here in 1994. This is what it looks like today. And it's where they actually commercialize technology. And it's literally across the street from the university. This is the street. The university is right in this area here that you can see. So what you have is the intellectual capital from the community. You have literally right there to be able to commercialize different kinds of technologies along with the infrastructure and areas of support, plus finance. There is also venture capital and other capital to help the companies. This shows the amount in terms of Germany, what's happened with their feed-in tariff program. In 2007 to 2008, increase of 30,000 jobs in Germany alone. Just Germany. The statistics for this year show also an increasing number of jobs in manufacturing of solar systems throughout Germany. This just shows you where the technologies are. This is a train from Japan. I'm not saying this is a train from Los Angeles, but I can tell you that's about where their mindset is sometimes. But the point is, the third industrial revolution is this. And what we have to do, and I agree with my colleague regarding the microfueling part for cars, got to get people out of their cars. We have to get people in electric trains and off the road. Because, and to be honest with you, I think most of you realize that taking the train to work is much more comfortable, much more user-friendly. You get a lot more work done on your computer than you do in your car. By the way, no joke, if you use your computer in your car, you go to jail, you don't collect $200, okay? So remember that, or your cell phone or other things as well. So this is a much better way to travel. And that's about it. I have a lot of, I have 5 more minutes? I have 5 minutes. Oh, I can go on. Okay, I took some notes on the other topics. And one thing, I was going through this because I thought I was going to get this sign and get the rope or whatever. Okay, just one thing I wanted to bring up as we start in the discussion part of the morning. There is a definite difference between clean tech and green tech. I did a book that came out last year. It's called Qualitative Economics, and it talked about that. And it was raised before, Marianne raised it in terms of the venture capital community and those kinds of issues. But the difference is this. The statistics you saw earlier regarding peak oil and gas, if you look at those statistics, you'll realize also there's some missing data there. One is coal. People talk about clean coal. That's called an oxymoron, okay? And in Los Angeles, I don't get applauded for this because they get most of their energy from coal. And they say, get out of here, Clark. You know, so I'm glad to be up here in a friendly environment. But the point of the matter is that clean coal is not clean. I worked with the Department of Energy and people and experts in that, also worked with people in China in advising them in Inner Mongolia, and they've got to get away from that kind of thinking. Because if you take the same amount of money that goes into coal plants and you transfer or look at that as the money that can go into renewable energy, you're going to eliminate the need for clean coal. Besides, the Department of Energy has also told us they have 216 years left of coal supply. Well, I hate to say it, but that doesn't mean I'm going to live long enough to see that, but my son and his children and children's children are going to see that, and I think that's a mistake. It's a big mistake. Now let me take the next one that's on that chart, and I didn't show it today. Uranium. When people talk about nuclear power as being clean, they're not talking about it in terms of waste, they're not talking about it in terms of the investment of those facilities, and they're certainly not talking about it in terms of transmission. Remember what I showed you before about the grid. We have to get off of thinking of the grid as a grid, maybe even look at it as like the internet. In other words, we have laptop computers, we can also have on-site power in our homes. Green technology, green tech is very, very different. And I focus on that because there is a difference and we need to be mindful of it. I know I have 2 minutes. One last thing. I have a book coming out this summer. I'm not advertising. It's called Sustainable Communities, and it actually has about 14 cases of communities, including colleges and cities throughout the world, 3 of them in China, as a matter of fact, that actually talk about how you can do this and achieve the kinds of things I was just talking about. I want to thank you very much for having me here. I also want to say that I hope I gave the HR department some direction, and I will be around for some questions. Thank you, everybody.